Well, hi everybody. Today it is December 11th, and today is the feast of one of our Advent saints, who was an early pope. He was a pope of the 4th century, Pope Damasus. And in these days, we've been in our country, in these years rather, there's been an awful lot of controversy about elections and all this kind of stuff. Sad to say, that was going on in the 4th century too. But first about Damasus. Damasus was ethnically a Spaniard, but he was born in Rome, and his father was a priest. And Damasus himself never married, but when he grew up, he became a deacon, and he served in his father's church. And so when Pope Liberius died in the year 366, Damasus, who was then about 60 years of age, was chosen as Bishop of Rome. But unfortunately, his accession to the throne, the chair of Peter, was not without opposition. There was a minority who had elected a guy named Ursinus to be pope, and they supported him, sad to say, with great violence. And the civil authority in maintaining Damasus as the rightful pope also was guilty of considerable cruelty. So a pretty ugly mess. However, contemporaries exonerated Pope Damasus himself from any involvement in all of these shenanigans. But Pope Damasus was harangued by his foes, his opponents, for a very long time. They did not go down easily. In fact, it was as late as 378, after 12 years of being pope, that the pope had to defend himself before the Emperor Gratian and a Roman synod on charges of unchastity that were maliciously leveled against him by his foes. So Pope Damasus had a lot of suffering that he went through as pope, but he was a very holy man. And one of the things that he did, he was greatly devoted to the relics and the resting places of the martyrs. Now, of course, this is the 4th century, and there had been terrible persecution of Christians in the previous 2 centuries, and many had to die for their faith. And Pope Damasus had a great reverence for their resting places being maintained, and for their relics. And he would write himself many epitaphs, which are still around and can be seen, of these early martyrs. He wrote epitaphs for them. So, thinking about his own death, he wrote his own epitaph himself. And I'd like to share that with you, what he wrote for his own epitaph. He said, "He who walking on the sea could calm the bitter waves, who gives life to the dying seeds of the earth, he who is able to loose the mortal chains of death, and after 3 days' darkness could bring again to the upper world the brother for his sister Martha. He, I believe, will make Damasus rise again from the dust." So today we honor this Advent saint, 4th century Pope Damasus. So this coming Friday, we're going to have Advent Stations of the Cross for the first time ever here at this parish. A great way for us during Advent to do something to bring us into greater stillness, peace, and prayer. So we'll gather here at the church on Friday night, this coming Friday the 13th, at 7 p.m., and we will pray Advent Stations, just like we do Stations of the Cross during Lent. But these are Advent Stations, so we'll be reflecting on the preparation for the birth of Christ. And all are welcome. Anybody can come. Next Tuesday, another great way to prepare for the coming of Christ is to cleanse our inner house. And so next Tuesday at 7 p.m. in Williamsburg at St. Bede Church, there will be an Advent reconciliation service where we'll all gather together at St. Bede to hear the Word of God, to pray together, and then there will be a number of priests who will be available, myself included, for individual confession of sins and absolution. That's next Tuesday, on the 17th at 7 p.m. at St. Bede Church in Williamsburg. But until then, I'll see you in church.